SQR podcast. Cole Rosenberg here, rocking in on a gorgeous night here at the studio at the Art Factory here in Paterson, New Jersey. Tonight is normally, I use this word an epic night so often, but every night is an epic night, especially the fact that we are able to not only be here, but to take a deep breath and enjoy life itself. Tonight is an epic podcast because my guest is not only a part of the whole an entire SQR podcast team. Not only he's a very close friend and consigliere, he's like a brother from another mother. So this podcast is going to have to be a very interesting play on how I'm going to do this. But I got to say, it's an honor and a blessing to be sitting across from the man, the legend himself, Dan Miller, creator and founder of Miller Instinct.
Miller Instinct.
That's what we're going to coin it. Thanks out to Manny for creating that.
Yeah.
Big shout out, my dude.
Big shout out.
Big toast. Thank you so much. I got to taste these beautiful green bottles. As you can see, we started early because the conversation was so interesting. However, I just want to give a big shout out to our sponsor, Heineken, SQR Podcast. We're designed to educate, entertain, and encourage. And we do that through beautiful, responsible conversations and drinking responsibly like we normally do. Premium quality content, just like our sponsors, premium quality beer. So, Dan, thank you so much for being here, my friend.
Hey, it's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Usually you're behind the soundboard, fading us in and out.
Like behind, like underneath it. I reach my hands up to turn that.
Completely staying out of focus. Oh my God. But thank you so much for coming and, coming from behind, your normal position on the SQR podcast crew.
It's a lot more comfortable up here, I gotta admit.
It is. What's so funny is as I thought about sitting down and chopping it up with you, I was like, how do I play this off as if I've never met you before, which is the normal mantra with all the guests we've had previously, and I try not to get to know them, but you is a different story. So we're just gonna jump in and just ride this one out and let people get to understand who you are, what you do. So let's do this. First and foremost, and I said it before, I want to say it again. It's an honor to be able to do this tonight with you.
Thanks.
Dan Miller. Let's go back to the beginning. Before the whole Viking persona and the kickboxing martial arts aficionado that you are, let's go back to where that all started from. When you were born, when you came into this world, where were you and what was that dynamic like?
All right. So I know the whole story from how my mom told me. I was just under 10 pounds. I was 11 days late, and I came out screaming with a red face. It was, it was in Valley Hospital in Ridgewood.
Oh, Jersey.
Shout out Valley Hospital, yep. They I got to keep my mom, and I gave her hell. So thank you guys for taking care of her. It was the youngest of three. Mother, father married, rented from Richfield Village in Clifton, where my grandmother lived, where I lived once. We got some history in that little place. So
youngest of three.
Youngest of three, yeah.
So was it all boys or was
no? The oldest was a girl.
Okay, nice.
And then my brother's a middle child, and then I'm a little longer behind.
Okay.
They're pretty close.
Okay.
In age.
Do you think you were like a oops baby?
I know. All right. I know. There's the truth, but then there's the in the family truth.
Yeah.
I know at least one wannabe.
Toast to that one.
Yeah.
Toast to that one.
Because I'm not going to say which one it is, but she's my rock.
It's beautiful. So you enter the world. You have your older sister, your brother. You're growing up in the family. As you're navigating, were you guys all loving, or were you guys picking on each other? What was the dynamic to get you to be so resilient like you are right now?
It had its challenges. Not long after, within 2 years before I was 2 years old, my parents had moved. They bought a house and then separated.
Oh wow!
So Dad, went on his own way. When I was young, they made it work together still. I went to see him enough,
Okay.
so that was great.
So basically, you could say you had a relationship with him somewhat.
In the later years, we connected more.
Okay.
I think it took a long time for the two of us to come together.
Okay.
But when we did, it was fantastic. I got to learn what a brilliant, humorous guy he was.
Wow.
In the 2 years I had him. I was 20. He passed, unfortunately, from smoking related stuff.
Okay.
But, yeah, it was really cool.
Wow.
It was awesome. It was just awesome to even, just have that chance to know him.
Did your brother and sister have the same relationship with him also?
They had more time, so they were older than me. So when the family dynamic changed, they had more years and
with him.
probably memories of that time, and I'm sure it was probably easier for them to maintain that connection too. With me, it took longer.
Can I ask you, if you could remember, what was one of the most interesting or memory-jarring moments that you had growing up here in Jersey with your brother and sister? Was there a specific moment with that dynamic?
Yeah, trying to sit still for a photo.
Where was
Definitely. Any relative, anyone want to get a picture with the three of us? It was like, I don't know how they kept it together.
It was like two North Poles, right? Or
Yeah.
three North Poles trying to...
Oh, man. Yeah, absolutely.
Why do you think that was?
I never liked being in pictures, for one. I had, my brother kind of picked on me to that would be another thing, so I wouldn't want to sit next to him.
Yeah.
And then my sister and him would always, they had their battles throughout their childhood too. So you never know if something's something's just gonna start happening right away, like right on the picture scene. That seems to be when you just put that little bit of pressure to sit still, and that's when anything can happen.
So out of the three of you, before we move on from the dynamics, out of that three of you, who would be the one who would always be the catalyst for the drama?
Oh, not me, I'll say that.
Good answer. Good answer. What was your dynamic, through like middle school, high school? What was that whole energy like?
So,
and where did you go?
That's what's great about it, is I was born at the perfect time. So my sister's the oldest, but my brother and I are 4 years different. So in like all the primary school, middle school, high school, I was never with them in the same school. So I got to have my own thing, whatever like one of them did that the other one heard about.
Yeah.
I didn't have to deal with any of that. I was just in my own, like, oh yeah, I heard of them. I heard of your brother or sister. That was a long time ago.
Okay.
I'm like, yes.
Completely free from that.
Here I come.
Clean slate.
I'm quiet. I'm nice.
No. Wow.
Let's do this.
What was the dynamic like with your friends? Did you make friends easy? Were you sociable, or were
I did. I had a lot of friends from when I was really, two of my best friends, and their all their siblings are like all pretty much close in my life. Or the kids where I would be out as early as I could leave the house in the morning, and we would just be outside and play all day. Like, that's what I love about the time I grew up in. For being born in '83, I pretty much got to go full 18 years pre-cell phone, which was
freedom.
It's just I'm sure
Yeah.
I haven't had as many years as a lot of other people with that, but just having that pretty much your technical childhood without it was great. You're just outside all the time. You're communicating all the time. Even like I'm shy and I'm fine by myself, but like that's, if you want to entertain yourself, you got to go out with your friends and go do stuff. And like,
wow,
it was just great.
What's so funny? And when you said that, I go back to that time when we didn't have cell phones, and I literally mentally just went back to that time and realized how much fun it was to just create and imagine and just play.
Do you remember like when you made a new friend? You had to know that, like, you knew their phone number, you knew the address, you knew how to get there, you knew the name of all the siblings in case something happened.
That's so true.
You know what they drive, you know the plate numbers in case they pick you up. Like, you don't have to know any of that now.
No, yeah.
This thing takes away so much instinctual knowledge that we had.
What was your how would it, because you're coming in and right now you see Dan Miller, creator of the Miller Instinct brand, which is so fascinating what you do, and you're like this handsome Viking character that comes into the scene. When was that developed? Was that through high school or?
That was developed. It was developed when I got my ancestry results back.
I respect the honesty. And then you just
I
owned
sung
it
a little bit,
and then
but-
and then you just owned it after
Yeah,
that.
yeah, and I was like, I'm all obviously Northern European, but the way my grandmother made it sound like I'm like at least 50% like pure English, maybe more.
Yeah.
you know, and it's like no, it's not like that. Like, you know,
Your grandmother told you that?
yeah, because she was like from England. She came over. She was the reason our family's here. So I'm like a third generation here. But she came over in '57 and went right into an apartment in Clifton, and she lived there over 50 years in Richfield Village.
From England to
Yeah.
New Jersey,
Yep.
Richfield Park, right here, corner Allwood and Clifton Avenue.
Right. Came on a boat here, pregnant, married, and family started here. She left England
So when you spoke to her, she passed.
recently. Yeah,
Recently
just
passed.
before her. She almost made her 90th. God bless her.
What's her name?
Ruth Duffy.
Can we toast to Ruth Duffy,
Yeah,
bro? Can
we
toast?
can.
Let's
Yes,
look into
we
the main
can.
camera right now. Ruth Duffy, thank you for being the catalyst.
And what is the date today?
Today is
March
March the
3rd?
3rd, yes.
This is actually her 90th birthday. Today's the day.
Happy birthday, Ruth.
Happy birthday. 90. You're right there. We love you.
You know she's here right now, right?
She's probably listening very cautiously, ready to cringe. What's he gonna say?
Oh my God, that's
No,
classic.
I'm kidding.
So, no, it seemed like you had a great relationship with her.
I did. I did. She was always pleasant. Always
Looking back
pleasant with me.
retrospectively, do you think? I mean, who are some of the people that you could really connect with, who've been instrumental in making you who you are, both mentally and physically and spiritually?
You know, when I really think and I dig for that answer, it's interesting the way you word that question, because the answers of the people who were the most influential to me I had the shortest amount of time with. My grandfather, my dad's father, was just grew into be such an incredibly kind, loving man and understanding for all kinds of situations that my family went through growing up, and seeing the way he carried himself in public and how he loves his grandkids, and that like set the tone for me. Like, right, if I'm going to be a great man, like I'm going to be like this guy. Like,
Wow.
he had so many other qualities I couldn't even think of with enough time.
Wow.
But that was the guy. Like, if I found him, I set my model from that.
What's his name?
His name is Ed Miller.
Ed Miller.
Yeah.
Wow.
Incredible guy. Definitely my mom.
Yeah.
Number one.
Yeah.
Like,
You've always.
yeah. Let me not forget the obvious, thinking of the details here.
Yeah.
But my mom has always been my rock. We've been like best friends, aside from what a mother-son should be.
Yeah.
She's the most incredible person I know.
So the reason why I dig back and try to find that little catalyst for the things that have sparked who we are is because that is so interesting. And when we have the chance to look back retrospectively, we realize the value that person had subconsciously on us. And that's really why I ask those questions. So in high school, you were in sports. What was the academics like?
All right, I would classify myself as a sports nerd. I
Okay.
was too skinny to play. I loved it so much, but I was just not that good. And I would usually get hurt. Like the first play I'm in,
Yeah.
something happened, I got knocked down and got hurt. Like I was just,
People look at you now and they can't even fathom
Yeah.
that. Usually you'd be hurting somebody, but
no, but it's funny how one you could see one as influencing you wanting to become the opposite. That's part of what created my passion for what I wanted to grow and start with Miller Fitness, and I just wanted to be the opposite of what I felt I was. I was getting hurt all the time. I felt like like weak, or I was tall but too skinny. And I
Was it because of the whole puberty explosion? What do you think that was?
I don't know. If I think about it, I wasn't realizing in those times that I had a chance to set my own identity and become, like, I can control those things that I'm crying about.
SQR podcast called Rosenberg. Dan Miller just dropped a major jewel right now, my dude. Say that again, and we're going to dissect that. Say that again.
That I realized I could control the things I was crying about.
So I read something today that says that's the difference that human beings have over every animal on this planet. We can literally control our outcome based on our thoughts.
Look at everything we've built. Like,
that's so amazing you said that, because I know hindsight is 20/20. I'm not going to argue that, but the fact that you said, you really could have changed the dynamic of your whole being at that time by shifting the thought. So, you know what? I want to take a quick break. I want to come back. If you don't mind, could you take me through one experience in the gym, in class, or in a physical that you really got banged up? You're like, screw this, I'm not doing this anymore. What was that shift that, say, I'm going to work on pronouncing that confidence, or that, getting physically bigger or better? All right?
Oh, yeah.
SQR podcast, Score Rosenberg. And I'm sitting here with Dan Miller, creator, founder of Miller Instincts. Big shout out to our producer and senior director and editor, Manuel, behind the scenes, who coined that name. Thank you so much, my dude. We're going to take a quick break, come back, and check out more of this fascinating being in front of me right now. One. SQR podcast, Cole Rosenberg. Honor and a privilege to be sitting across from my boy Dan Miller, senior audio director here at SQR podcast. That I said, hey, I gotta bring this guy's story to the forefront because he's so fascinating. The most interesting man in the world. Behind me. I gotta say that, behind me, one of the most interesting men in the world. Fascinating journey from birth to where we've gotten, and we were gonna pick up from high school, where you were this skinny, tall, out of always getting beat up as you played sport, and you were like not having this. But before we did that, and that's why I love to run the audio, keep the audio running, we spoke honestly about Grandma Ruth, straight from England, and you said she was a gangster.
Dude, she could flatter you, but if she wants to tear you apart, she just flips that switch and it is done. Like,
you see that, or did you experience that?
Oh boy, all of the above. She had a magnificent ability to guarantee the outcome she desired.
Ooh, that was powerful.
And she was savage with it too. Like, the shit was not always positive.
Do you remember an incident that you could, share that?
I mean, tons. But she would. All right, so my mom was. She was married at one time. Remarried.
Yeah.
So they were having some issues, and my grandmother, like, she's not tall. She came over and just got right in his face, like chest up to whatever lined up there with her, and like looking right at him, like a man would,
wow.
Bumping him and like talking with her British accent. Like, it sounds so sweet, and she wants to kill this guy. Like, she's daring him to hit her. But
oh wow,
she was just so ready for, but she just had this force that she conducted herself with. Even if she wanted to flatter or entertain,
it was a force.
Oh my God, yeah.
Do you think you picked up on that?
I definitely acknowledged it was there.
Okay.
And I in spirit, I definitely was rubbing up against it.
Okay.
Try to catch some for myself. She survived cancer 4 times. I mean, like, the strength of this person.
You know, they don't make people like that
the
anymore.
Stuff she endured. You know, she got exiled by her family basically because she fell in love with an American guy.
Oh, wow.
Back then, it was a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, that's back when you wore a tuxedo to the beach on Sundays in England. You wore your best outfits, and that's
To the beach.
to the beach. Yeah, 3-piece suit on with a necktie, bow tie, the hat. I'm thinking the monocle, everything. Like, that's what they're doing out there at that time.
Wow. Big up Ruth.
Society changed so much in the lifetime that she lived.
Wow.
I couldn't imagine to go from, you know.
Big up Ruth. Big up Ruth. That's why I'm so glad we went back and got that, you know, because you realize the shoulders that you stand on. You have to acknowledge it sometimes, my dude, you know. So let's go back to high school.
Yeah.
So now you're in high school. You're like a string bean. Is that what would be a good analogy?
Like I would say beanpole. That's the word.
Long legs, long
Like a whole lot of nothing.
Like, how tall were you at the time?
I quickly grew to the height I'm at now. I mean, I had one week as a freshman, like just getting to the whole how I got to be tall. It all happened so fast. Like, I got pink eye, right? I had to take a week off of school. Like, that shit was serious. They don't want you to come back. Like, there's like pink eye is one of those things that you don't have to go anywhere to say that, right? So, but it seemed like in a growth sense, I hit all my puberty in that week. Like, my voice octave went from this cracky voice to, in that week I was off from school. That it went down to this, like yo, son, I'm Barry White, you know. And then I'm coming back in freshman year. I am this thick at the same height coming back in with like this stubble now. Like, yo, what's up, guys? I'm back. And everyone couldn't believe it. They were double taking it and everything. That was, you know.
Like that it happened.
Yeah, it's like I walked up to puberty and just like, yo, I'm here. Give me my pass.
Oh my God, that was a very funny transition.
And my feet grew like a whole size, and then like a whole week.
Turned it into a hog.
I'm busting out of my shoes.
Yeah, that is funny. Oh my God, that is classic. So what's the? Go ahead.
So what happened, to answer your question?
Yeah.
There was a turning point for me when it was before high school, when the kids in the neighborhood of different age groups, like, there were so many cliques of friends based on how old they all were.
Which is high school typically.
So when you kind of pick on the ones that are younger than you, right? So there was a time I'm at the playground with I'm the only one in my age group, and everyone is like my brother and his friends, right? So they have this merry-go-round, and they're like, "Oh, come on with us," right? And these are like young athletic kids, like they're all playing soccer, football, and shit. I'm like, you know, so I'm like, okay, cool. So we start running, and they run this thing so fast. I can.
Are you running with them, or are you on it?
I'm trying, but
okay.
I can't move my feet enough. Like, it's going so, there's so much power, and I'm losing my grip too. So I fell like under where they're running, and they all just kept running over me, and like they knew they were doing it, and they were having fun doing it, and I'm getting trampled. This is the kind of shit, like, if mom ain't there, like, you better hope you live. You know?
Yeah. Holy shit.
Can't call 911 out there back then.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just felt so, I mean.
Trampled on.
I felt trampled, literally, yeah. and like, physically, you know, and mentally. But I felt like so weak and down. Like, there was nothing I could have done about that. If I was faster, if I was bigger, if I was stronger, if I had better grip, if I rolled before they kept running.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Like, why don't I know these things? And like I want to know these things. And like, I just realized, like, I want to be the person in control of that type of situation. I want to, and also I was getting bullied a lot, like beaten up. So I just thought, I want to grow and be like this badass killing machine that, never actually does it. That's a purpose I can get down with. So I remember I would watch like Rocky movies and all these big like hand-to-hand combat movies, and I'm like in my fucking leather jacket on the couch, like jumping off one side, like punching these imaginary guys, and I'm running behind the couch and get up and punch this. No one's there. But I'm training.
Yo, I love your honesty with this.
I did that shit for years, like way longer than I would want to admit.
Wow.
Like I was in double digits doing that shit.
Imagine,
it.
find imagining guy,
Like,
imaginary
oh, man, you
guys.
want to come play baseball with us? Like, no, I'm busy.
That's amazing. Wow. Holy, yo, my dude, that's amazing, bro. So from that moment, I'm gonna I'm gonna stand up for myself, and you go into training mode. And your training mode is watching these movies, making up these imaginary men, fighting.
Yeah, saving the princess, beating up the boss. Like every night, I'm having these dreams. Like,
Wow.
maybe I'm Batman, maybe I'm my own guy, and it was just like, just thought about that tough guy that wins the girl and can beat the bad guys, but he's calm and modest. And I just started thinking about these things I want to incorporate into who I am later. Like right now, maybe I don't feel that way, but I could do something about it. That's kind of what I was saying before about controlling, like what I'm crying about. I was crying about all those things, but I realized even if like I don't know how to remedy those things. I'm a kid. I just feel that way, but I realized I could, so I just started trying things.
Wow.
And it works.
Yeah. No.
You punch the air for 10 years and then hit someone. That shit works.
They're gonna remember. But you know what's so funny, Dan? And I can only empathize and relate to what you shared because of what I'm reading now and what I've been exposed to. And you tapped into that part that we all have, the imaginary ability to create and build and grow. And that's what you did. You used your imagination to completely change your circumstance. So let's go on to, let's leave it up. So how was your transition out of high school into college?
I don't know. When I got out of high school, it was kind of tough because I was like lacking a direction. I wasn't sure what I wanted to be. I just knew I couldn't commit to anything yet. So I was like, all right, let me try something I'm interested in. At that time, I was into cars, but I was hanging out with a lot of like bad crowd kids.
Okay. How's your mom handling that?
She was so shot from raising the first two that like I could do whatever I want. Like, oh, are those your cigarettes? Like, yeah. Are you gonna quit soon? Like, I don't know. Okay. Like, there's no rage. No, she was shot.
I gotta admit, classic. Yeah, I appreciate your vulnerability, my dude. Classic. Wow. So you're hanging out with the wrong crew, and continue that journey. Because I'm fascinated in getting to when did that light bulb click happen, and then you started physically working on you to become this, movement that you are.
Things were, I mean, as far as hanging out with the bad crowd, it's just kids that get in trouble and starting to think that stuff is cool, like kind of being bad, like nothing's happening around here, like this is what we got to do to have fun. So and plus just I don't know, society was so different then. It was a lot more ruthless amongst kids, and like you can get away with more is what I mean. Now it's things are totally different, so it was a whole different vibe back then. But kids that got in trouble were pretty much looked at as cool kids around there. So I ended up before I was even 18, I was like just doing stupid shit.
Like what?
All right, so like things that could eventually lead to danger. That was like where we got the thrill.
Tell me one.
All right, one. So me and my buddy, we changed our oil one time in our cars, and I was at his house. He lived on this really steep hill. So we're like, this is terrible. Let's take the oil and dump it on the street and see if cars have to spin their tires to get up the hill. This is like a busy road, and we're just like these like dumb teenagers giggling at every idea we have.
Yeah.
Like, oh, let's try it. Okay, cool. So we do it. We hide in the woods, and like cars start sliding up, and and then it starts getting worse, and then there's like cars start not being able to make it up the hill.
What about cars going down the hill?
We didn't pour it on that side.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay.
So something dangerous could have really happened.
Yeah.
But luckily it didn't. We go like ride 4-wheelers, and sometimes cops would chase us, and I did end up. I got. Can I take that back?
Yeah.
All right. I don't want to say I got arrested twice. Before I was 18.
But it's all part of the whole
just
growing.
And I realized the point of that was, we don't have to take that back.
Yeah.
But the point of that was, like, both times I was just under the influence of other stupid people. And I needed to change that too. Like, I'm just like doing what I think is cool, and I'm not really thinking about what I want to do.
I'm pretty sure
just going with what's around. And
Yeah.
now I'm in trouble twice. And like to see my mom disappointed is what really breaks my heart. To see her sad, hear her cry.
Yeah.
That's nothing could that's just because of what my mom means to me. So to hear her disappointment really would touch my heart. And it got to a point where I wasn't in major trouble yet, but it looked like I was heading that way. So between her giving me the sweet version and then my grandmother telling me, you're going to end up in jail by the time you're 18.
You were on track for that.
Yeah, and I started looking, I got my head out of the mud and started looking around and seeing what's actually lateral and upwards.
Another jewel on SQR podcast. Say that again, my dude.
So I took my head out of the mud from what I was currently dealing with and could finally look laterally and upwards, and I started to actually do that.
That's all that's required sometimes. Bong, SQR podcast, Score Rosenberg. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. I want to pick up from when you started getting serious about Dan Miller. The physical change, the mental change, your transition to New Jersey, and the entire, movement that's now created who you are. SQR podcast, Score Rosenberg. Dan Miller, Miller Instincts. Miller Instincts. SQR podcast, Score Rosenberg. One of my most entertaining and I want to say honest podcasts we've had. I am not surprised, because I know who you are. You're very open. You're an open book. I'm impressed with your vulnerability and your honesty and everything that you've shared. And as I've said to my guests, there's a little kid watching this right now who's like, yo, that's what I'm going through. And look what he turned into. Look at this movement that you are creating. And I remember prior to the podcast starting, I said to you, let's stop thinking like the created and start thinking like we are the creator, which means we have the ability to continue to evolve and change. So I want to pick up from, transitioning out of high school, being this, awkward, lanky, beat up guy. When did the transition happen into the whole shift? I mean, we spoke about being trampled on, but when did you take action on changing that energy?
So a couple years after high school, took a chance to move to Florida. It's probably one of the best things could happen to me, just to get out of my hometown, out of that, change the whole dynamic. Let me just change everything and adapt to something completely different. So I'm grateful for that experience. But down there, I met a guy who was a coworker of mine when I eventually started working at this hospital. I had all kinds of jobs down there. So I met this guy, David, and he's an awesome guy, a few years younger than me. Big working out in the gym, big time volleyball player. Like in Florida, they have like year-round beach leagues. It's incredible. Indoor leagues, like I'm sure they have them all over, but the beach leagues are just awesome down there. So I played a couple times, great. this guy was like, he's like a chick magnet. He's like in great shape. He's like bodybuilder, like looked like he's ready to do a show.
Oh wow!
He just kept himself like that. And this guy's like the man. So I was working with him, and I was just finally, I just had to ask him, like, dude, like, how do you get like that? That's what I want. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I felt weird asking him because I'm like way taller than him. Like I tower over this kid in height, but then again, he's got this crazy muscle and strength, and I see him like I see like he doesn't have to put any effort. Like, he's just like everyone comes to him, like all these women. And all
do you think it was because of his physique why people were attracted to him?
But he had a swagger about himself too, and I was hoping to catch some of that. But yeah, it's just a guy running at his peak that came into my life at a time when I really needed it. So I started meeting him at the gym. I knew very little about weights or anything really with fitness then. Just I knew about sports. I love sports. I always wanted to play. So he starts teaching me, all kinds of workouts and like how do you hit each muscle, how do you work them differently, how do you get the results that you want. And after my body started changing with that, I just fell in love with it.
Oh wow!
I was like, wow! Like I always had the idea I could control my outcome, but then when you actually learn the mechanics of what you have to do, and you start when you go from think to do, things become incredible. Then you're living it.
Another jewel on SQR podcast, my dude. Say that again.
When you go from thinking it to doing it, like you're alive now. That's when you're living it. Everything's happening. It becomes beautiful. It becomes part of your life, your experience, your history.
That's why action is so important. You could stay there and plan all day, but if you never take action, because the minute you take action, you start seeing the results immediately. So the minute you start taking action, you start some results, and you just starting.
Couple weeks.
Yeah, well, I'm not talking about overnight, but you saw some results.
Absolutely. And then I just kept trying to gain on him and learn more. And I would pick this guy's brain all the time. And like he was always nice enough to, he's just such a nice thing. On top of like all the swagger he had and the great, the great build, like he's just a inclusive guy. He would invite me to. I liked volleyball. I didn't really play, but he asked me. He invited me to the league, and next thing you know, I'm like, we're playing volleyball together. We're working together. Working out together. Like it was just all around great influence. And
what's his name?
His name's David Wood.
Wow,
he's a really cool kid.
Do you think he knew that he was influencing you the way that he was? Or he was just being himself?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Because sometimes people, when they realize that...
I definitely would think being himself is part of it, but he could have also acknowledged that, hey, I'm helping this kid and he keeps coming back.
Okay.
He must be valuing it. He must be.
Let's look into the main camera, and a big shout out to David Woods.
Big shout out.
Yeah.
My boy in Florida.
I had to isolate that because as human beings, we don't know who we're influencing as we go through the day. And the fact that he even, not only stepped up to the plate, but also, accepted you and shared. So one of the things you mentioned was his energy, his friendliness. And as you hung out with him and you copied that energy, did you see that working for you at any time?
Yeah, it's interesting because I realized, there. I don't want to say power, but you get an ability when you start really putting work in to become who you want to be, and you realize there's a lot more you can control than just what you thought.
True.
So there's all kinds of benefits from that happening. It was just great.
So you moved into college with that mindset.
No, I didn't go to college. I just went to Florida for 4 years. I worked, I figured out who I was.
Yeah.
Played a lot of volleyball, and I just worked and chilled and bonded with my mom was down there. We were down there My grandmother was there for a while, so it was a great pivotal part of my life. Just kind of finding my direction and who I am, and I realized that I wanted to come back to New Jersey. I wanted to get into training. In some way, I loved fitness. It was working for me, and I wanted to get more involved. That was all I knew at that point.
So now let's fast forward. You're now in Jersey. You came back with a game plan. What was your first fitness job?
My first fitness job was I was a backup instructor at a kickboxing gym.
A backup instructor.
Yeah, so like this chick had this class on Mondays, but she usually called out. That's the only time I got the call to come in.
Oh my God.
And that was how I was hoping I would pay my rent. That's how I was hoping I would pay for all my bills, and that this job would turn into something.
Wow.
So I went in there and I put everything into, like, I was there for an hour. People pay attention to me. That's it. Once that hour is done, it's either the front desk or they leave. They're on with their day. The grocery, kids, whatever people are doing, go to work. So I just try to make it the best experience of their life and learn as much as I could about, what the class is supposed to be, the content, practice it, like all the punches and kicks. And like, I've been doing that for years. Like, all right, let me just tighten up. And plus I had, at that point, coming back from Florida, I had experience with sales, like all kinds of sales jobs. So there is a little bit of a selling aspect to it when you're a trainer. But people would take my class for the first time and sign up, and it was happening like crazy. So word got to the owner, and then, he called me one day.
You remember the day?
What's that?
Do you remember the call?
Yeah, it turned into a relationship where I would talk to that guy every day, the owner of the company. It was wonderful.
Wow.
But yeah, it started off with just kind of how I'm doing, and he just started telling me about one of his other clubs where the manager walked out, and he's thinking of closing it. It only has like 40 members. So I was like, I remember on the call, I told him, I was like, listen, I have an idea. Why don't you just let me manage the club, teach me what you can quickly, and just for 1 month. You're going to close it in a month. Let me see what I could do with it in a month.
Wow.
And at least I could get, because I thought if I could secure that, like, that's at least the opportunity for me to create something. If I'm waiting on a phone call to teach one class, what am I controlling right there? I'm waiting. So that's not good enough for me. It's better to have the controls than to not.
Bong. Love that jewel. Love that jewel.
So thank you. So getting in, I saw what the place was, and I just had more opportunities to rock out every class. There was only a couple trainers there.
So you were teaching most of the classes?
Most of the classes, yeah. I didn't want to have to cut a class from the schedule because a trainer didn't show up.
Okay.
If I'm there, I'm just gonna have one and do it. So people come in to get what their people get their workout. And I just realized like there was so much that needed to be done to that place, and I was like, I got 1 month to give this all I have. So I just started doing everything, like cleaning the place up, trying to get trainers, trying to put word out on the street, trying to keep myself in the best shape possible. Yeah, I had no choice. I was like, this is what I want to do, and I have this 1 month opportunity. So
no, but Dan, what's so fascinating about that is people could go, I only have 1 month. Why invest? It's going to shut down anyway. You went in with the reverse perspective. I only have a month. Let me pour my all into this. What was the end result of that?
A lot more months. So that first month, I think I sold like 47 or 48 memberships. I pretty much doubled what was there.
So he goes from closing to staying open.
So yeah, he had it set up where like he was sharing profits instead of paying rent.
Oh, nice.
So just whatever he made, he had to give a cut. So it's not like he had to leave. But things went really good. He's like, why don't we? So at the end of that month, I almost hit like the top tier sales bonus for managers. When you hit 50, it's like, that's like, you're the man.
Clutch.
And so he's like, why don't we do this like month to month? You know, you have another month basically. If it if it goes well, if we
Smart.
you know, we'll go like that. And I just started like every day, every month, I just woke up with like this thriving energy to build that place.
Wow.
I wanted everything to be pristine. I wanted the classes to be the best. Like I saw the other gyms as like either motivation or competition.
Wow.
Either I want to be like you or I'm trying to pass you. And one is going to happen.
Wow.
So, and I got so like headstrong and so into it. And I just learned everything I could about myself, about the place, about how to fix how to rehang bag if a bag falls, or, you know, and the selling was going easy from my experience. Like I was selling cars, asking people for like $25,000, asking people for $60,000 for one car.
Yeah.
I'm asking people like $400 now. Like, I don't feel any pressure. Like, this is fine. Like, they could buy this and they'll be fine. You know, like I don't have to feel like, oh, you know, like was I a bad guy for selling that car today?
Yeah.
You know, now it's like, you know, I'm helping people. Like, this is a cause I can believe in. You know, selling cars is great. I don't mean to knock it, but
true.
But it wasn't what was in my heart. Like, to know I can like give something that I'm so passionate about, how it helped me both learning strikes from a young age and learning how to lift weights or learning how to exercise, because I got into everything. I got into kickboxing too. But to share that gift is like something I realized I really want to do. So I think that's what drove the force behind like all the sales, because each month that went on, I hit that bonus, like that 50 memberships, unheard of. You know, back then it was paper contracts, right?
Yeah,
so you had at the end of the month, you gather them all, and we all meet at the office. They have this meeting, corporate meeting, you know, all the managers. Right, so these guys come in and give them like 12, 13 envelopes. I'm coming in with like 2, 3 envelopes, like stuffed, like double folded, not triple, like packing these things in. And all these people are looking at me like, dude, what are you doing? Like, what are you?
Just doing what you were just. What's so funny is, and I think I realized the answer behind is because that's when we connected. When you were working at the gym over here on where the tennis club is in Clifton.
Right.
So I came in on that energy, but what I like is, as you explained that whole dynamic, is you found your passion and it was helping people.
Helping people in that way.
Yeah, in that way.
You know, if I can, because think about it, I have an hour to be the person I dreamed to be.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, being this badass killing machine that's not actually killing.
Yeah. Yet.
And I can I can influence people. I can help them get their stress out. I can influence their lives. You know, I could train them.
Yeah, which is really fascinating about your passion and your dream. You know, as we get ready to wrap, and we're gonna take a quick break and come back to the our last break here. Could you share how the audience could get in touch with you for your private sessions and some of the stuff that we're gonna show them after the show?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to share my passion with you as a pad trainer. You can hit me up on Instagram. It's Miller_Instinct. Hit me up there. Hit me in my DM. And we'll get talking. We'll find out where you are. We'll set everything up, and it's going to change your life. I guarantee it, and you're going to love it.
SQR Podcast, Squirrel Rosenberg. That's what we're digging into. The specimen across from me right now, Dan Miller, Miller Instincts. We're going to take a quick break, come back, and then we're going to dive into, since his introduction to kickboxing and the way he transformed that gym, to the journey he's been on, what he's doing right now. And you'll be able to see, and your boy was the victim of some of this power and strategy in the movement of Dan Miller. SQR Podcast, Cole Rosenberg, 1. SQR Podcast, Cole Rosenberg, rocking it with my boy Dan Miller, Miller Instinct, senior audio producer here at SQR Podcast, and a fascinating guest. Thank you so much, my dude. Salute.
Well, my pleasure.
sip on these beautiful
Cheers.
green bottles. I want to say a big shout out to my sponsor, Heineken. Thank you so much for writing out with SQR Podcast. You know, premium quality content, premium quality product. So I have been privileged during this powwow to understand your passion behind, you know, the fitness, kickboxing, and everything that you've done to really, you know, bring your brand to market. It's fascinating to hear how you've transitioned from, you know, being born in this family where the journey itself was so colorful, the role that Grandma Ruth played, the role that your uncle played, the passion for your mom and the role that she played, the dynamic between your sister, your brother, and yourself, your perspective, your transition into high school, that whole lanky, you know, weird process that really created this drive for you to change and be the person who you are right now. And then you think, because people normally would assume that a person like that would become health conscious and develop a better mind and body to become a bully, to, you know, to be a
I like to get revenge.
get revenge. Exactly. But that was far from your dynamic. You're just wanting to help others.
Yeah, I wanted to be badass, but I didn't actually want to hurt anybody.
It was just
I guess I didn't toughen everything, you know? I remember this time in third grade, right? I was getting bullied by all the jocks, like all the kids that got picked to play football, and then I was like, oh, you don't have a team, huh?
yeah.
That was me, right? So everyone, you know, they play their games, and like they would, after they were doing their jock stuff, they would come and pick on me after, like on recess at school, and that happened for a long time. So, and, you know, back in that time, like when recess ended, all the teachers are lined up here, and like you go stand behind your teacher, and all the kids, they get their kids together that way, and they go back in. So this kid, the leader of the bully jocks, whatever, comes back, and his teacher is next to my teacher, and we line up next to each other, right? So I was like, today's the day. I'm like, my blood was boiling. I'm like, I have to do something. I have to get payback. I have to, like, I hate this, what I'm going through. So I just turned to him, I looked at him, and I'll tell you what I'm about to do, but the first thing I did was I started crying.
Before you even did it.
But yeah, I cried of guilt before anything even happened, right? So he's probably very confused by my tactics, but I'm genuinely crying, right? And then I turn and I rock him with this left hand.
What, cry?
Oh yeah, I'll cry first, punch him next, right? He falls down, he's crying, like he gets up crying.
Yeah.
And then we get, you know, he gets coddled and I get in trouble. That's kind of how it goes. So I get sent to the principal's office, and they call my mom to come get me, right?
Oh my God, that's funny.
Oh my God, this is what I love about the women in my family. If they get called to your school, they will come and fight for you. It does not matter if the gas and the matches are in my hand. My mom is going to tell them about their ass. Like, but the thing too is that, like, she always did that for me, but she always knew I never did that stuff for no reason. Never. I'm just not that type. My heart is not that way. Like, I don't want to harm people.
Wow.
But if I'm getting harmed, I'm going to take it to a point too far, and then
You're gonna explode.
I have to. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
Mom, you stood up for yourself.
the rubber band, you know, it could snap or it could, like, fuck.
Yeah.
And that's why I want to be that rubber band. I don't want to break. So she would always come down to school and, like, oh man, she gave me so much pride. And then so when that happened, she was like I'm glad he hit him. That's good. You know, that kid deserved it. Like they pick on him and you guys don't do anything about it. Like she went in.
Yeah, that's big.
Oh, she took
Mom
me
had
for
your
ice
corner.
cream. She took me for ice cream after. That was the best tasting ice cream of my life. I punched that kid, the leader of the bullies. Knock him down, and I'm eating ice cream, and I'm not in school for the rest of the day.
That is amazing,
like,
bro.
This is great.
Yeah.
But you know, there's a fine line between you know, being tough to be right or whatever it is, you know, fixing my own bully problem, and then of course, like, I don't want to become a bad person, right? So I don't know. That's why I knew since I was young. Like I always felt bad if I had to hurt. Like, I didn't want to hurt anybody. I'm too sensitive for that shit.
The fact that you were crying before you clocked this dude is classic, bro. But it shows. It shows that the authentic you isn't into hurting people. Which is what's a massive compliment to you.
No, it's like it's just about recognizing your own weaknesses, taking the humility to do that, and then you just think like, what can I do about it? And I'm here for that. That's what I'm here for. There's people that are in that stage that recognize, there's something I can improve on, and if physical fitness or feeling, at least just feeling confident, feeling that you can throw a good punch or a good kick, and like you never plan on using it, like, if you're like me like that.
Yeah.
But just it gives you the confidence. Like you can walk into a place standing tall, you feel good about yourself. Like someone's not going to bully you.
What's so funny
you have
is
that swagger.
I have been the recipient of that swagger since we have met, and I've been taking your classes. No, I'm honestly, when you said that, because one of the things I picked up on when I started your class back in the day was the power of your kicks. And for those who are watching this, we're going to show a clip of me getting kicked by Dan Miller. And I had the pad in my hand, but let me tell you something, son. I got rocked. But what I did was, Dan, I can honestly tell you, I said to myself, I want to kick like how he kicked. So I guess I forgot the name, and I rarely do this because I'm so sharp with my memory. But the gentleman that influenced you, what's his name again?
David Wood.
David Wood. You were my David Wood, because when I saw the way you were punching, the way you were kicking, I'm like, you know what? I want to be like that guy, and that's what I made at my mark. So even to today, I still take a couple kickboxing classes, and in one of the classes, this chick who I've never spoken to, after class, she came up to me. She's like, "You are so good. The way you're hitting the bag, the way you're moving. How long have you been doing this?" And all I picture in my head, because when I'm punching, I punch the way you punch, the same mannerism. When I kick the way you kick. So before we kind of get ahead of ourselves here, but let's just rewind this, as we say in Jamaica, and pull this back to. We left off where you're now running that gym. You took it over. It became month to month.
Yeah.
Now we're fast forward, and I want to get to where people understand that you are not just talking the talk. You've been through the journey. You've developed your skill to be who you are right now. So let's go to right now. In terms of your kickboxing and your training, what do you have going on right now?
Right now, I'm working as a pad trainer, so I can meet with with pandemic, with everything going on. I think it's best for me to meet people one-on-one. So we get full punch kick sessions, helping out with all that the best I can, helping to create more harmless warriors. The people that want to get that sense of self-confidence and self-improvement and an inner toughness where you can confront yourself knowing you're tougher.
Have you, since you've become so aware of your ability and your passion, is there any, let me see what I'm trying to find. Is there any specific experience you've encountered or someone that you've trained that you've seen had really blossomed from that confidence?
Yeah, honestly, there's a woman
besides me.
Yeah,
because I'm going to own that right away. Besides your boy.
Yeah. I remember I trained at a gym in Central Jersey, and I met a woman named Jody. She had decided she was preparing for like a bariatric surgery. She was really,
she was overweight.
That was her battle. So, and she did over the long process. Like she did so great with it, but started taking my classes shortly after I got there. Stuck with it, and then just on her own started eating better. Started coming up to me, asking me more questions, asking for tips, asking for to train. After a time, I was training her. She wound up losing like over just from the exercise over 100 pounds.
Wow.
It completely it changed her identity.
Wow.
And it was just like, I can do that. That's not even me. Look what I can do, and like I'm not messing it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, like that's that basic feeling is just incredible. And to see her life change, and to experience the bond that is created. You know, when you have a great trainer, the bond is awesome. It's a different kind of bond. It's hard to categorize.
It's a life-changing opportunity for both parties.
It is. And just knowing you, how I've known you over the years, from obviously I've known you since I've known you.
Yeah.
But when you walked in, I didn't know you, and to how that all started is just something that, if I never took the controls of myself, none of this would have happened. I wouldn't know you. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have been there that day you walked in.
True.
I'd still be the same, like 6'4", 165, like a beanpole.
What's so funny, Dan, is you said if you never took the controls. Now look what happened when you took the controls, and the trajectory and the lives that you've impacted. Because you've impacted my life, bro.
Thank you.
I mean, my whole, I'm your boy celebrated 50 in November of last year, and from here down, I'm 25. Dude, it's amazing, bro. So I want to give you a big shout out.
Bro,
Yeah,
that's facts.
I want to give you
facts.
100%. Big up on that. As we get ready to wrap up on this, I wanted to touch on your plans for Miller Instinct, and where do you see that going? Let's just think big. Let's say you had all the funding you needed and everything that you want, considering your journey up till now, your experiences with everything that you've experienced. What would you want Miller Instincts to be?
I want it to be the same thing. I want it to be all inclusive. I want it to be a source you can go to get the top quality training, top quality informational, instructional videos on how to get started with pad training, or with getting into kickboxing for fitness, getting into weight training, getting into self-improvement. Whether it's links to education, whether it's sessions, to things to watch, things to experience. I want to be able to provide all that. So,
and I think I know you're providing that right now. Let everybody know where they could find you, and tag into your services.
So, I'm not really a social media guy, but go on Instagram, Miller_Instinct. I only check it about 17 times a day. It's not a lot happening. But trust me, I've built a lot more as a trainer. The first thing I'll do once it builds up a bit, I'm going to get a social media manager, someone that's like, okay, we're going to post about this. This is what you're going to do, and this. I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Because I don't do it.
Yeah.
All kinds of things happen in my life.
But you know what's so funny?
If you don't know me, you don't know.
Yeah, but Dan, once they see this and they realize that your movement and your passion, it's more self-serving. I think people are going to want to connect with you, especially when they see the footage of what we're going to, throw in and show them how you've done your stuff. And by the way, what you're going to see is some real workout, some real movement that my boy is able to bang out. So as we get ready to wrap, normally the way I wrap the show, Dan, is, I have the magic wand, give it to my guest, and you only have 2 wishes, my dude. Your first wish. And I'm glad that you're thinking about it. I'm glad you're taking the time to breathe it in, marinate on this.
My first wish, I want to know what it's like to live life where money's not like you don't even think about money. You got so much money, you don't even think about money. Yeah, I love to say I want to change the world in this way. Like, no, fuck that. Give me a lot of money. Like, stupid money. First wish, I'm taking care of me, right? Because the only people around me are only as good as I can be.
Bong.
That's-
Another jewel on SQR podcast. Say that again, bro.
People around me are only as good as I can be.
Yeah. So if you're paid up, you're good to go. Everybody else is going to be
and everything
cush.
I think about, even just the thought, is paid up.
Yeah.
If I want to do it, it's paid up.
Yeah. Bong.
Yeah, that's
Your second wish.
second wish. This is good. My second wish would be for no one, honestly, for how I came up, anyone that gets bullied for something that's, they're not guilty of, that they know there's, everyone can get access to places to cure those ailments, to learn from it, to benefit from it, to grow from it, to go from being a kid that's beaten up to a kid that becomes like, people don't fuck with me now.
Yeah, I wouldn't even think about it.
I mean, I'm not trying to say what kind of guy I am, but people just don't. It's great. But I took, I realized like I could do it, but maybe I'm lucky for that. I don't know. I'm just me. I can't live their lives. But if everyone knows, like, there's a place you can go. If something's wrong, there's always a place to make it better. Look, it's the age of cell phones. Like,
Yeah.
but still.
So are you saying that second wish would be the wish that everybody realizes that there is the opportunity to make whatever issue it is better?
Yeah, if something's wrong, it can be fixed. And you taking the controls is the biggest part of it. Realizing that they're there. Realize they're there. Realize what's wrong. It's okay. Realize what you can do.
Take
Your
control.
influence, your power. And if you don't have it now, you can grow it.
Yeah. That's what you did. That's really what you did.
That's what I would love. That would be my wish, is that everyone just knows that.
Wow. Dan Miller Instincts. I knew this was going to be fun. I knew this was going to be interesting. And especially that we are both on this journey of self-realization. I knew this was going to be fascinating for not only for our guests, but for me. Because I'm really, bouncing a lot of energy off of you. And, I thought I knew you, but I'm so glad I got this chance to sit across from you and realize that.
I don't talk much.
Yeah, no, but Grandma Ruth is yelling through your DNA right now. And there's certain things I didn't want to touch on because I didn't think it was necessary, but I realized that resilience came from her, and the soft but strong and firm approach you bring to your passion. I realized where that came from. So I want to big you up on that. And as a recipient of that energy, much love and respect, my dude. So as we get ready to close, one more time to the main camera, let people know where they can find you. Both male, females, young, old, log into this. What is it, my dude?
It's Miller_Instinct on Instagram. Miller_Instinct.
SQR Podcast, Cor Rosenberg, closing out on another fabulous show here at the Art Factory. Big shout out to our sponsor, Heineken. Thank you so much for sponsoring us. And I want to say a big shout out to our, head producer, editor, director behind the scene, Manuel. Thank you so much for the great production and for coming up with the name that's classified for my guy right now. He's going to get some royalties off of that,
Big
right?
up to Manny.
Bong.
Well deserved, too.
SQR Podcast, one.